if you know anything about American history and the Reconstruction period after the Civil War, it was a very short-lived period, but it was a time of excitement and possibility, and then it ended, and it all went away for 100 years. So what I want to do is I want to introduce myself, and then I want to introduce our distinguished panelists.
Oh my gosh.
and we're going to kind of do it as a quick lightning round of introductions because we want to cram in as much pertinent information as possible. So my name is Van Hayden. I've spent the last 35 years in the film and TV production world. Thank you. I pay people to, I plan them in the crowd to do that. It helps me. And then for most of those 35 years, I've worked as a first assistant director on movies, television shows, et cetera, et cetera. Effie and I have done 12 films together. Christine and I, 12 so far. We're still counting, though. Christine and I just finished our first feature together, but we met here in 1999 at our first Sundance Film Festival. So it's kind of a homecoming, and it's all around that. So I want to just turn it over to you guys and just say a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
I'm Christine Swanson. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I live in Los Angeles. I'm a filmmaker. I've done everything. I also direct a lot of television because I have 4 kids to put through college. I am working. I do. I'm working on my 8th, 9th, and 10th feature films as we speak.
Yes. Hey, good people. My name's Effie Brown. I'm a producer, and I feel like I've been producing since Jesus was a baby. Legit. I have a company called Game Changer Films, where we produce, finance, and develop productions for women, people of color, LGBTQ, and people with disability. And that's it. Who cares? You know what I mean? Not who cares, but you know what I mean. Like
we're all family here. We're family here.
It'll be fun. Like I've been around. Who cares?
Hi, my name is Avril Speaks. I am a film and TV producer and sometimes director and showrunner as well. I work both in fiction and nonfiction. I'm from, I guess you could say I'm from Jersey. I live in Atlanta right now. Kind of, sort of. I'm about to move again. I'm doing like the nomad life right now. I'm like all over, but I've been in LA for the last 13 years. I still have an address in LA, but my car is in.
Okay, gotcha.
Is this working? Oh.
Yes, it is.
Hey, my name's Yvonne Welbin, and I'm the founder and CEO of Sisters in Cinema. We're a media arts center on the south side of Chicago, and we support Black women, girls, and gender-expansive media makers. And we're the only center of its kind in the world.
Yes.
And I'm also a producer, primarily documentaries. I've produced a few dozen at this time, and I've made some films. I'm getting back to them, getting back to filmmaking myself.
All right, excellent. It's a wonderful introduction. So, we've got a wealth of information and experience. For each of you, quickly, tell us about, I already mentioned that Christine and I met here, 20 years ago. So this is your first, it's going to be our last film festival here in Park City. But talk about your first experience here. If this is your first time, talk about that and what it's meant to you since then. Sure.
I'm trying. I think I came in 2000. I might have come before that. But I know in 2000 there was a State of the Black Film Industry panel. I was on it. At that time I was working on my doctorate and I was writing my dissertation on the history of Black women filmmakers, and so I was like the scholar on the panel. That one, and then 2001, Stranger Inside.
Yeah.
That was a blast.
Yolanda
That's
Ross.
how Effie and I started working together.
Cheryl Danette directed.
And I'm gonna say this, Sundance has always been good in the sense it's just like, you two met. You just meet really great people who stay with you throughout your career here. And so that's like my memory from that time.
So I gotta be honest. I hate. I like.
There's no
I
room for
haven't-
honesty here.
I hate it. I hate it. I've been a filmmaker for a long time. I think I started out in like 90, in the mid to late 90s, but I didn't really have a whole lot of mentors to like know what to do, and I never really thought Sundance was for me. So like when I first started out, because I just didn't know, and I didn't, pursue that because I just didn't know that that was something I should do and could do for someone that looked like me. So I kind of forged my own path. My first Sundance was actually in 2013. And so it was the year Ryan Coogler premiered Fruitvale. There were just some really amazing films. Since that time, because I started as a director and became a producer, and once I became a producer was kind of when I got into the Sundance fold and became a fellow at Sundance and started coming to the festival and being involved in Sundance in that regard. And I would say the same, like once I did become a part of kind of the Sundance community, there's just been a lot of support, and and I have to say it's kind of bolstered my career. Both the institute and the festival itself has become like a big part of who I am as a filmmaker. So
Wonderful. Effie?
I have to tell you, it takes me a little ways back. And Van, I think we did the movie together. The first time I was at Sundance ever was for a movie called Things You Can Tell Just by Looking at Her. And I was the line producer. Van was the AD. And my story?
Who traveled here and could not
My-
get a ticket to get in.
Okay, you know what? This is my story, and I traveled here too, and I had to beg for a ticket myself. Okay, so anyway, so that was Things You Can Tell, and I remember having to sleep on the floor of a condo, and we didn't know any better. That was like I was in my 20s. That was lovely. I'm not in my 20s anymore. But the first time I feel maybe it was But I'm a Cheerleader. I think But I'm a Cheerleader was here too. And I just remember Sundance to me, and I'm going to start name dropping, but like all the movies that I've done, like from Stranger Inside, Real Women Have Curves, from Rocket Science to Dear White People, these are all films that have been at Sundance, and we've won Sundance, and which has been great. So I do feel like Sundance has been a home. I've had a chance to be a mentor in a lab, but what I really love about this place is walking up and down the street and seeing people like, you still here? They ain't get rid of you yet. You know what I mean? And being like, we're like rats and roaches. Like they might be able to find financing or be able to get a job. Like we still here. They can't get us out. We believe in film and making it happen. So that's what I love about Sundance the most.
Effie's the Elaine Stritch of Sundance. She's still here.
So when I was in Sundance in 1999, I premiered a short film that I'd made that it also won the HBO short film competition, the first ever. And I remember the prize for that was a development deal at HBO, which I was woefully underqualified for. But that was it was like baptism by fire, right? Mind you, that short film was a film that I made as a student at NYU, and I was still a student. So I kind of got into all of this too soon. And I only know this in hindsight because you just grow and you learn. From that, I jumped into my first feature film. And ironically, Effie was Effie was my line producer.
Fired me.
But she was a rock star then. And here's the beauty of it. If 1999 and our 20-year-old selves.
Remember that? We were so young.
Yes.
Do you remember?
We started here bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but we have
What are we now?
We have grown up.
Old.
We have grown up in this industry, and as I'm looking at my last Sundance in Park City, I look at these women, and Effie, even if she was fired, I look at Effie as a black woman in this industry who has staying power, but who has been through it, has been through fire, but is here to talk about it. So that's what I see. So when you're young and ambitious and optimistic, the world seems yours impossible. And look at us now; we're all humming because we have lived a life. And now I think how we can look at where we are at this stage, I'm not thinking about having fired Effie. I'm thinking how grateful I am that Effie is sitting next to me on a panel that I curated that she immediately said yes to.
100%.
Because that's what we evolve into is mature adults with experience, good and bad, that makes us ready to be like rock stars. We're all rock stars now in our own right, but now we do it as mentors to young people. So y'all don't make the mistakes, and even if you do, we can tell you those mistakes will actually grow you in a mature way.
I think there's a lot of wisdom there, and it's interesting that Christine mentioned Effie being fired 4 times in that 2-minute period. But it's a great transition because I think that leads us into, and Effie, why don't you start with this one? What's your superpower as an African American female in this industry 5 years ago when we were in fashion and DEI was a thing that wasn't a pejorative? 5 years later now. So what's your superpower? What have you used to what did you use to have your success, and can you share that with us?
I'd say so. Thank you for that. Like for me and Darian, is she coming up here? Like this, like this is how we roll. Do you know what I mean? There you go.
I'm so sorry.
No.
President of SAG Indy.
Wonderful.
I will answer the question. Oh, it's gonna introduce herself.
Okay,
No,
go ahead.
I'll talk about I talk myself all the time. You want to introduce yourself a little bit? Or multiple. Yeah.
All mics on me. Hi. So I'm Darian Michelle Gibson. I'm the executive director of SAG Indy. My job is to help independent producers understand how to make independent film, specifically how to hire professional actors for those films. I do not work for SAG-AFTRA. I am the person you call to help you figure out what you're going to say and do for SAG-AFTRA. I am the person who helps you when you have questions or problems. Not that anybody has problems with SAG-AFTRA, but if one should arise, then you can call me and we will help you figure out your process. I also go to film festivals every 10 to 14 days. So I do about 24 festivals a year, and I do a lot of story mentoring and production, and I am a producer, and I think that's good, right?
Okay, I'll take the mic. And superpower.
Got it. So I would say, nice to have you here. We're real friends. So like one of the things I'll say, like a superpower, and I bet you it might be a lot of us have this in common, is one as a producer I'm able to identify talent, right? And if a story that moves you and the thing we're just like, you gotta do it. And I think that moves all of us in here of like this a project like I gotta do it, it won't let me go. The other thing is, and I will say like my high five is I know how to put people together. I know how to build a functional, dysfunctional family. But I'm also like that's my spidey sense of being able to work with people to where I'm like, if I fall apart, you got my back, and they're like, got you. Do you know what I mean? Or vice versa. And it's really, and just sort of high-fiving off of what Christine was saying, is that it's literally the people to the left of you and to the right of you are going to be your tribe. Do you know? And I mean that true in the true sense of the word of being like, you remember me when, you remember me now, and to be like, and also at the end of the day, there's only but a few of us in this business, and we better link arms. Do you know what I mean? It's about community. So that's my superpower, I would say. And the words that go with it.
Love it. Let's jump to Yvonne.
Oh, okay. I think my superpower is that I can raise money. And I love it. I love raising money. It makes me happy. It's my happy spot.
I know, we're like, can you help me?
You know what? All of us are producers. I realize that. That's part of the staying power. Yeah, right. And my other superpower is I'm a great problem solver. Yeah, so, I mean, I can. Sometimes things are being channeled through.
So Yvonne, talk about a little bit more on that. Go a little deeper on that. How did you not the money part, because a lot of panels can, but how did you develop that ability to problem solve? Because I think that's a real critical skill.
Okay, it's not what you think. I was 12, and I was reading my mother's books, and she had these romance novels, and one was called The Other Side of Midnight. and it was by Sidney Sheldon. It was really steamy. It was a lot of sex, but the main character lived in Chicago, and she didn't have a lot, and she went to Northwestern. I ended up at Northwestern, and she realized that if she knew how to solve a problem, then she didn't have any like background or people to help her. People would remember her, and it would move her along in her career. I was like 12 years old, and I said, I'm going to become a good problem solver. And it is a muscle that I have developed, and I shouldn't have been reading my mom's books because I don't even, I mean, like, whatever. But that's really how it came, and it's like something I keep working on, and I'm so good at it now. Tell me your problem. No, I'm joking.
I hate my mother, you mean?
No, it's like work related.
Averill.
I think the first thing that comes to mind is adaptability. I think that throughout the years, I've had many careers. I will say, in terms of, I've been a professor, I've been a director, I've been a producer, I've been an editor. I've been kind of many different jobs within this field. And I think one of the things that I love so much about producing is that it really does, you kind of have to know all of those things, because at any given point of time, you're going to have to tap into those skills and into that knowledge. And I'm just that person that, and I honestly, I don't know if this is a superpower or this might be a bad thing, but as producers, sometimes that's our go-to, is to step in and do the thing that needs to be done. And sometimes you just gotta do the job.
And
then
gender
you're doing 10
and
things.
culture and ethnicity, do those help? Are they hindrances? Help?
Well, being a black female producer, everyone wants us. Money is flowing on our feet. Am I manifesting? Is that what we're doing?
Manifest. Right, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think sometimes it's a superpower, but then also sometimes it's like a hindrance. Not a hindrance, but like it. Yeah, everybody we take too much on. Like, everybody wants us to be the thing, and especially like you said, like there's not a lot of black female producers, and so it's like anytime somebody they have a black story or they have a story that has that bent, it's like, Effie, you got it. You got it. It's like a handful of people. Yeah, it's like, right, exactly. It's like a handful of people. So it just becomes a bit like when you're taking on a lot.
And some people complain about being pigeonholed, like you're the black producer, so you can only do the black projects. Have you run into that at all, or have you found ways around that? Yeah, if you do want to talk about that, no, come to Christina.
Sorry, I've you use that one too. Go ahead. I mean, like for myself, I do quite a bit, like from Real Women Have Curves. I tend to do things that are about marginalized communities. That's because that's my go-to, and that's what I want to do, period. So that's what comes. But you're right. If it's like a biopic or something, The First Black or whatever, but even if doing like Real Women Have Curves from back in the day, the last movie you've done, you'll get like 1 million of those same scripts, because you're like, I can do more than just that. Personally, what do you think? Sorry,
Well,
Christine, of course.
Well, when I was a development exec, we would run into it all the time, because I worked for a very famous kind of black icon, and we would have. I was in the first iteration of Deaf Pictures with Russell Simmons. I used to run his development, and we would have
And Stan, but also Stan Lathan.
And Stan Lathan.
And Stan Lathan. So there's a moderating.
Absolutely.
There.
But we would read things, and I was somebody who, when someone does a good job, I praise them, and we had a writer who did a really great job for us, and I went to his agent and manager and said, he did a bang-up job, we really love him, I'd love to see when he, whatever else he has. And then he went out with another script like a month later, and we didn't get it. And I was like, what happened there? And his manager said, well, we didn't think you'd be interested. There are no black characters. And I was like, okay. He goes, I'll send it. And so he sends it. I read it. And on like page 23, there's a black male janitor who like walks through the scene. And I call him and I go, what are you talking about? I want it. The janitor? Oh, I'm in. And he was like, okay, Darian, I get it. And I was like, no, that's all I needed. I was like, forget the story. There was a black guy who walked in on page 23 buying it. But you have to tell people who you are. And no matter how many times they forget it, you have to be like, yeah, I am more than that. And here's what I like. And if you're going to give me the same old, then don't bother. But it's a constant conversation.
And were you there when they did How to Be a Player?
Yeah.
But also Gridlocked.
Gridlocked. We premiered Gridlocked here.
Tupac Shakur,
Tandy Newton,
Tandy
May,
Newton, yep.
and Tim Roth.
Yep, Tim Roth.
Yeah, it was a great high time. And then we didn't make anything else.
I came by your set for How to Be a Player. See Preston.
I love Preston.
So, he's my heart. Christine, superpower.
Okay, so I think as an artist, my primary superpower is that I'm an empath. Because that's everybody probably in this room is an empath, but I have been able to harness that, as a career, as a filmmaker, as a director, as a writer, as a producer. My complementary superpower also is that I played basketball and I was always the captain on the team, so I know how to move a team to a realized goal, and it's always winning for me. So you don't play to lose, right? But when you learn to lose together, you can also learn to win together. So those two things put together make for a great director, believe it or not. Because you have to lead people to do what you need them to do, but you also have to lead with compassion and empath so that they want to do it for you and win with you. So I think those are two things that have allowed me to be mildly successful director, but mostly you're a captain on a set.
I think it's wonderful. All right. So, Oh, okay. Absolutely. Share.
I mean,
Different.
but it's a superpower that I think is low key nobody cares about, like nobody thinks about. It's two superpowers, but number one is that I employ common sense. In everything I do, I just employ common sense. What do people need, and then give it to them. And so many people are kind of going all areas, and I'm like, the most basic path forward is straight. Let me just figure out what you need and get there. And then the second kind of complementary part of that is I'm not afraid to dream big. So I'm constantly asking myself, what does this industry need? And then because I represent an organization, I think, how can I get us closer to that? What do we need? We need people to understand this, then let's make a program that tells people about that. And I don't care if I'm in a room of 10 people or 10,000, they're gonna come away learning something anytime I do it. So if I'm doing a talk and nobody's writing things down, I'm irritated, I'm not doing my job. I need people to get information that they didn't have when they walked in. So my common sense and not afraid to dream big that I can change this industry.
That's excellent. All right. From your perspectives and your experience and everything that's made you who you are and brought you to this stage today, talk about some of the biggest challenges that you faced as a professional in this industry, and what did you do to overcome those challenges or meet those challenges? Any volunteers? All right. Thank you. Okay, Effie, go ahead.
No, well, how about you go and then I'll anchor.
And then she'll tell you about Matt Dillon.
Yes, that sounds like
We got time.
no. We're gonna then fix that. You go first, and then I'll.
All right, April, go ahead. And I mean a real challenge, not at the surface level. Someone you felt you trusted, who did you
Give us
dirt.
your pain.
I mean a real industry challenge.
I mean, I gotta go
All right.
first. I would say
I'll go. Do you have it?
I think April's got it, I think.
Good. Go.
I would just say I think the biggest challenge for me has been lack of information, because I feel like there's so many things about this industry that are kind of we just don't talk about, or that are kind of clouded in mystery. I think the first film that I produced that got distribution, I was like, what is happening right now? Like, I was like, they don't teach you certain, they don't teach you that in film school, like what distribution is and like how to navigate distribution and how to negotiate a deal in distribution. And it's part of the reason why
Okay, where were you stopped in terms of that? Where did you come to the problem, and how did you overcome that problem?
How I came to that problem was literally our film. We got distribution for our film, and then I was handed a 30-page document that was like, these are all the things that you have to turn in. And I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, also, this was 20, I forget what year, but it's like, you're asking me for a reel. Like, I don't know. I don't have it. But there were things that were on the list that, like, I was like, I don't even know. I've never heard of this before. I don't know what this is. And the way I got through it was, mentors. It was like asking around and asking other producers. Like, I'm really grateful for the producing community that I was able to reach out and say, like, hey, have you heard of this? Do you know this? And like, that's how I was able to get through it.
All right, let me ask you this, because I run into this a lot with young people that I work with, especially if you're a person of color, especially black men. I'm going to speak for black men, but I think this really goes across culture. We have a history of being told we don't know things, we're not in the information loop, which can be kind of intimidating when you don't know something, but you need to get the information that you're talking about. How did you develop the skill to say, hey, I don't know this, can you help me? Because that, for a lot of people, that's a stopper. Because we don't want to feed that old story that we don't know. No one is born with this information is the first thing I learned. But go ahead.
And that's what's interesting about distribution. Like, I'll be the first one to say distribution is evil. Like, it's the evil part of filmmaking. But like, the reason why I was able to do that was because distribution, it's like the last stopgap for every filmmaker. No one will see your film if you don't put it somewhere. Like, no one will get. You can raise all the money you want. You can go through production and do the whole 9 yards. But I have a company that I signed a contract with that says, like, in order for an audience to see this in a theater, I have to deliver this. So I better find out something. But I'm gonna be honest. Like, the first month of that process, it was me in my living room crying to myself because I felt stupid. I was like, how is it that I've been to film school? I was a film professor. Like, I used to teach film, and I don't know what's happening right now. And like, everybody's, they're reading in the trays and they're like, oh, you got this film. Oh, this is amazing. Like, congratulations. You're living the dream. And I'm like, no, I'm sitting in my living room in tears because I don't know what's going on. And I have no money. Like, we had used all of our money to make the movie. And so I'm like, I can't even afford to get the subtitle or whatever thing is on this list. I'm struggling to even do that thing to get the film to the final prize, which is to get it on the big screen, which we have the deal. We got the deal to do the thing. But
now you got to get the Dolby logo.
That's right. I got to do all that stuff. And I had to figure all that out. So at some point, I had to like get up off the floor and figure out how to do it. And I had to open my mouth and ask people, like, do you know what this is? Like, can you help me out? So it came down to like, a need.
Okay. Christine, let me jump to you, and then I want to. I know, but yeah, I got this. Let me come to Christine, and then I'm going to come to Effie. And
good. I talk a lot.
I'm excited. There's a thing called a cliffhanger in TV series, so we got to. Go ahead, Christine. A big place where you got stopped in your career, and you had to use whatever it took you to get to this. Your skill set, your superpower that got you out of it.
Okay, here's something that I learned the hard way. Remember I mentioned that I'm an empath? Okay. Who's attracted to empaths the most? Thank you. Okay. So what is this industry primarily made of? Okay. If you do not know how to navigate dark personalities and dark forces, you will get eaten alive. And being excellent in what you're doing, and being at the top of the game, and while being celebrated, it will take one narcissist who can read you to just knock you off your stuff and make you think that you don't belong, that somehow you're the fraud. Really, they're the fraud. But because you are kind and compassionate and loving, you would never think that you're the problem, right? They're the problem. Let me repeat that. They're the problem.
Repeat that, everyone, together.
They're the
problem.
And we are the solution. But the issue is there's more of them than us. And what we have to do is, one, if y'all are the narcissists, please just stay away from me. Okay? Because you won't bode well anymore because I'm informed. But young folks coming up who are talented and pure, and they get twisted by really the dark forces, and who protects them? They don't know. So we don't know how many great artists we've lost because the monsters have gotten to them. All right? We have got to stand in the gap for the lovely people, for the righteous people, for the good people who come into this industry to be a force for change, or are pushed out by the monsters. When you see the monster, friggin' do something. Most of us are afraid of getting knocked out ourselves, so we don't say anything. And I know a lot of those people, and I've been in rooms with them, and they have watched me get knocked off, and they're like, please don't say nothing about me, because I just want to work with this person.
So, Christina, how do you do that? How do you do that?
All I can say is this. You got to take the hits. You got to take the hits.
Do you confront them head on? Do you say what you did is wrong?
You can't confront somebody who's way more powerful than you. Right. You know, life has an interesting way of dealing with them. However, you're going to have to feel the hits. And this is what I'm saying to you as artists. The hits, the suffering, the hardships, that's really what's going to make you great at your craft. All right? Just don't let it keep you there. As long as you don't stay there, you're going to be all right, because it's a long game, okay? And look out for mentors, if you can find some who are not narcissists, to guide you and help you along the way. And I've been blessed to have a few of those people in my life when I've made, like, crazy mistakes. Darian is one. When I made a short film, I did not do any SAG contracts, and I had to do it in reverse. You call the experts who can get you out of a hole. Make alliances with people who have the kind hearts, even if they're not powerful yet. Because they will get there if they survive. All right? And if y'all and us survive together, maybe, doggone it, we can change this business from what it has been in terms of the way that it has treated others to what it can be, harnessing our gifting and our power.
Wow, those are pearls of wisdom. Pearls of wisdom. All right, without further ado, Miss Effie T. Brown. If we were on the Jennifer show, she'd do that. We'd do the dance line, and we.
No, I'm gonna actually
Effie.
keep it. I'm gonna try to keep it brief, and I'm looking like push me like beep. So the question was a challenge that
Like
obstacle.
a crucible, a
crucible,
severe challenge.
Okay,
yes.
severe challenge. I mean, this is like a
And
genius.
what you did to.
I was on a TV show called Project Greenlight back like about 10 or so years ago.
Oh, I think I saw that.
And exactly, and I think you were there.
Yeah.
Thank you. But like, and you can go and watch the show and like read the memes and do the thing to find out whatever. But there was a moment in there where I was the lonely only, being like one of the only women and certainly only person of color, and having to talk to someone who was way more powerful, that people let whatever, and to bring up the question of like, shouldn't we talk to someone who's of color and who perhaps is a woman? So like, do you know what I mean? To actually talk about the script and all of that. And then I was told that you do the whatever. It was called Damon-splaining. You can figure that out on your own, right? But the bigger thing is that the main part of that was like, that was the beginning. but what was interesting in going into being women of color, how oftentimes we are right, but we are negated, right? And people try to pile on to us, of being like, and to knock you off your game. And I'm like, and I'll be like this, I'm kind of a narcissist. Do you know what I mean? But I was with bigger narcissists. Do you know what I mean? But like trying to knock you off and be like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm most definitely trying to only have representation in the film was really important to me. And how we were represented. If we, as people of color, didn't have any speaking parts, then we're sure as shit ain't gonna be a waiter, a maid, or a driver. I know we felt differently about that van, but like there were certain things. I'm like, if we're not good enough for that, then don't have us at all. Don't have us play your subservient bullshit. Anyway, but all this is to say, but that's my thing. But like at the end of the day, I was dragged for being confrontational, angry. But at the end, there was a white man, Lynn Amato, who seconded everything that I've been saying all the way along, and all of a sudden I was right. Right? Do you know what I mean? So that sort of the story of the complex came in. Here's the thing. I was blacklisted. I'm trying to get to the part of like, I was blacklisted. Nobody wanted to work with me because they're like, ooh, she's made Matt Damon apologize. She's a problem.
For the people that haven't seen, just set up that part of it.
It does. I mean, it's literally. So you can look at me. It was literally. I do understand. I'm like, all bullshit aside. I understand. He didn't say it correctly, but I understood where he was coming from. I not understood.
The crux of it was he said you
don't do the diversity and
the crew hiring.
The crew, like you do diversity not in like the who you hire, but in the casting of the movie.
Yeah.
And
So who's behind the lens doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's only like you put them like it's surface. But like and now like Karen, it was 10 or so years ago, and I don't want to keep crucifying this man. Like he's learned. Move it the fuck along. Excuse me, music. Move it along. Do you know what I mean?
For any minors in the room, that's a technical term we use in the film industry.
But what I do want to talk about is at the end of being blacklisted and being that like, oh, and it was, I want to talk about Lee Daniels. Because Lee Daniels, from the Butler, Empire, what have you, he called me up afterwards. And he was like, girl, you let those white boys have it. And I was like, that's what he said. And I was like this. I was like, oh, no, I did it, man. I didn't know I did it, Lee. I did. I go, they'll forget about it. I hold up my little tiny money. You know what I mean? And like, maybe they'll forget about it. And he's like, they ain't going to forget about it. And he said, swear to God. He goes like, they didn't. I was like, and I didn't think. And he hired me to be a part of his company. And that's how I got on the television show Star. And I was with his company for a year. And he came and he was like, let me scoop you up. And like, you can wade this out with me. Part of that goes back to the beginning part that I was talking about is community. April's talking about open your mouth. You know what I mean? And be like, and go to your peers and be like, oh, I think I'm in trouble. And then being like, you are. Right? Black Twitter is on your side, but nobody else. And I remember, do you know what I mean? And he had a deal at Fox at the time. And literally, he came back to me and said, yo, the people at Fox are like, are you sure you want to hire Effie? We know that she's good at her job, but she's seen as being problematic. And he had to fight for me to do that. So anyway, I just think that's the thing.
So Effie, did you feel at some point you'd won the battle but
lost the war? There is no winning of the battle. Lost the war.
But it seemed like you had the righteous ground. And I think the indie film community rallied behind you, saying absolutely. But you said you ran into these.
And I still do. Like you still run into the gatekeepers. You get people who don't want to give you they don't want to don't tell them about me. Like I'm okay with you, but don't say that to them. Do you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. And I'll just say 100%. And then but I do feel, and I'm just going to say this for all of us. Most of us are in this because we feel that art can change the world. Film can change the world. A story can change someone's mind. And right now, I'm not going to get political, but right now we are in need of art and we are in need of story because people's minds, hearts and minds need to be changed. So we've always known that. Do you know what I mean? And I've always known, and I feel I want to get into God or religion, but I do feel like I'm like the Blues Brothers. I'm on a mission from God. Do you know what I mean? Of it being like, I know I'm sitting here to do X, Y, and Z. Representation matters. For my first film, but I'm a cheerleader. Do you know what I mean? Like, it matters. It just matters. But I still run into it. Do you guys run into? I still run into that. Do you know what I mean? Of being like a little too mouthy.
You know, I know.
Okay, hi. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
All right, Darian.
Okay, I guess
a severe problem that you encountered, but you found a way through.
That's assuming that I found a way through it.
Okay, we'll talk about that. And if you didn't,
yeah,
address that.
Because what I find is that people like to diminish your accomplishments, and you have to learn how to kind of stand up and say your name. And so I still do run into it. As I'm getting older, I'm getting less diplomatic, and I wasn't very good when I was young, so it's getting really bad now. But there are times where I have had to tell people, if you are not going to remember me when it matters for me, then don't remember me when it matters for you. I'm not going to keep bailing you out and doing things and then have you disrespect me. And so I've had to tell people. And sometimes I've had to tell pretty big companies, like, yeah, I fixed that. They were like, can we? I said, stop now. I'm not doing it for you ever again. Never. Because people will tell you, they'll love your accomplishments. They'll ask you to do things. You deliver. They are like, great. And then when they turn around, they go, wasn't I amazing? And oh, her? Oh, she's a whatever. And so I've had people say, will you put together a panel for me? And I'm like, yes. And then before the panel, they were like, I think she's just dropping the ball. She's not doing it. She's not good. And I was like, the panel is a month away. You didn't even ask. So then when I did the panel, and it was an amazing panel, and they were like, that is amazing. And it was such a good panel. And next year, and I said, say less. I'm not ever doing another panel for you again.
So it's a Hamilton moment. Say yes.
Yeah, I was like,
Speak.
you have to understand that if you do not respect the work that I do, then don't come to me. But I have had lots of times where people are like, oh, she just does like film stuff. She just helps people. And I'm like, go to the helpers. I mean, it's like Christine said, when she has a problem, she knows she can call me. So the helpers are people that you keep close. And if you disrespect the helpers, they stop helping you. And put some respect on your name. I mean, I still can't go to the Black Women in Hollywood
Neither can I.
brunch.
I'm never black enough.
I'm not black enough, woman enough, or in Hollywood enough. But you have to just be able to say, you know what? This is my name, and this is what I do, and you will either. And I don't require thanks. I just require you to respect the work.
But it doesn't hurt to get the atta-girls.
I don't mind a thanks for helping.
Yeah.
I don't need much. Like, people are like, can I take you to dinner? I'm like, no, I don't want to have dinner with you. I don't know you. I'm
All right.
like, your thanks is enough.
Yvonne, severe confrontation that you. Good. This is this, and we want to lance the boil so that there's a lesson. So there's a lesson for our audience members.
Yeah,
So they know how to get through these things in the future.
There is a story. I produce documentaries.
And remember, you're a problem
Did you just
solver.
hear that? I produce. Yeah. So anyway, I had my partner. My partner
That's a
back at the
side eye.
time. my partner back at the time was working on my partner was white, a white woman. She was working on a feature that had nothing to do with me. No black people. Was not part of my mission or life. And it was a $500,000 feature. And her line producer walked. Because she's like, y'all only raised $200,000 and something. I'm not doing this. So my girlfriend comes up to me and she goes, Yvonne, would you produce my film? This is when we were doing Stranger Inside. Remember, I didn't do Stranger Inside. So I was like, okay. Long story short, I took that money. I went and negotiated every contract. Because it was one of these really low budget films. Like these people, it was like a 28-day shoot on this low money. And you know me, I found post-production, $60,000 worth of post-production for $1,000. I mean, I'm good when I'm out here. She took me out to a farmland and said, I want to shoot right here. And nothing there, but I saw an electricity pole over there. So I'm like, okay, we're going to get power. Anyway, long story short, and it was a SAG. It was my first SAG. SAG actors, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say something that happened for me.
I don't work for
I know. Okay.
Disclaimer.
They would come and smile in my face, and then I would get a call from a manager, an agent, or whatever. And I'm like, you sit up here smiling. Great actors. We have great actors in this world. But every night, I cried. Every night I cried, and I said 27 days left, 26 days left, 25 days left. I mean, seriously, during that shoot. every day. And one of the actors was having drugs FedExed to the set all the time. The crew was high all the time. I was like, it was like so much stuff going on. I mean, they had fun, but it was a lot for me. But anyway, I'm not gonna get off my purpose. Because I was like, I helped her. And then I didn't want it got bad.
But was she appreciative?
No. So the film premieres, and this is a 7-year relationship. The film premieres, and that was the end of our relationship. So it was really sad on that. But I think for me, it was like I agreed to do something for my partner, even though I was never going to work on that film. It had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with my purpose. She got her feature made, but she got what she needed, and I never worked on a narrative feature again.
We're going to change that.
We are, because I'm about to start shooting something this fall, and I have a series coming up next year. It's been a long time.
Ooh.
It's been a long time, but yeah, every night I cried. I was like, 25 days, 24 more days. And it was one of these vanity projects. As his producer raised some money because she wanted a kid in it, which meant we were shooting on Halloween. She's like, but he's got to go trick-or-treating. I'm like, stop. Like, it was just like, anyway, it was really hard.
I just want to take the temperature of the audience. Does anyone in the audience had any kind of experience like that? No, seriously, just show of hands. Like, if you're on a project and you're going through hell and you're counting down the days, starting at day 1, day 27 down to 0. Yeah. All right, yeah. I think that's really relatable.
But also, can I just say that people forget that because we're competent, because we're good and we're efficient, that people think that it's easy, that it rolls off our backs. And so people don't give a care. They don't take our wellness into account because you're producers. You're supposed to just grin and bear it and take the burden and do it. So, be kind because we are efficient. But then when we're left alone, we're exhausted and tired and sad and
Okay.
Auto-
In the interest of self-care, what do you do in those situations as a way to relieve that stress? What do you
drink.
do? Okay, drink. Christine, it's a
I
round
like
robin.
whiskey.
Round robin. Drinking. Christine, pray, or what's yours? Or?
You mean during production or live?
How do you get through when someone from Chicago who's on a big show does you dirty? How did you deal with that? How do you deal with that? Just a real quick one.
It's
right
just
down the line.
don't forget who you are
Great.
and stay in that space.
And keep using your superpower.
Well, because if you don't know who you are, then you're going to be affected. And like I was telling Darian, like if you're that affected, you're going to get weeded out. So just leave. Just leave.
Effie.
All right?
Effie.
For me, what I do now is I quilt. And that's enough. I'll go conjure quilt. Go, yeah.
Ariel.
I started playing the drums, and it's been amazing. And so whenever I hit those, moments where I get upset or get freaked out or whatever, I go bang on the drums. And it's been
Avon.
awesome.
I think just remembering who I am, like even when I'm talking about those 28 days, that was only 28 days out of my entire life. So, I mean, like, just the reality check. This was just this little window. It's not my whole life.
So you come to Park City and you get coping and survival skills from these experts right here. All right, Darian. If you could go back 20 years in your career, offer some advice to a younger version of yourself for a pit hole, a trap, a snare to either avoid or go into, and some ideas of how to get out of that.
Oh, the hindsight of your career is just so vast where you're like, man, that was a moment and I missed it. So I missed telling people what I want and thinking that, like, I was raised by a good Midwestern woman who always said, you put your head down, you do the work, and you will be acknowledged. And that is actually just not really true. Like, you put your head down and you do the work, but if you think that people are just looking to you to go, isn't that great, they'll just step over you. So I did not put myself forward enough. I gave away power to people because I thought, oh, it'll come back to me. And it's just not true. I had to learn to be like, I'm sorry, you don't know who I am, so let me tell you. Because I would be like, oh, I'll just do the work quietly, and they'll take credit for it, and it'll be fine. They'll love me later. And there is no later. And so there were many times where I had opportunities that I let go because I thought there'll be others and that I should just be quiet. And I clearly am not quiet anymore. And so that was my mistake.
So know your value and speak on it.
Yeah, and say, like, if I wanted a job, tell somebody, I am interested in this job, or I am interested in doing this, because I would be like, oh, I hope they think of me. Nobody's going to do that. And so I have learned to kind of put myself forward where I want to be. But if you think that it's going to be a quiet, like I can just be the person who puts Band-Aids on everything and they'll love me for it, they'll take the Band-Aid and they'll keep on walking. So that was my, like, I feel like the difference of my career where I love where I am, but the things that I could have done when I had those opportunities would have looked very different. And I let those things go.
That's powerful.
And I don't drink a lot of whiskey, by the way. I like to learn about whiskey and drink it.
All right. Christine, what would you say to that 20-something-year-old coming out of NYU Film, having gone to divinity school in California, having graduated from Notre Dame, the distinguished Notre Dame? What would you tell that young, what you call bright-eyed, bushy-tailed youngster coming out of film school, ready to conquer the world? What advice would you provide?
To calm down, to understand that if you're lucky enough, it's a long game. And not to put pressure on yourself in your youth, not to put 40-year-old pressure on your 20-year-old self, because that 40-year-old pressure is waiting for you. So now you got double stress. I say to young folks in your 20s and even your 30s, live your life and figure out who you are. That's it. Don't figure out what you're going to do when you're 40, because it'll figure it out for yourself eventually. But just calm down and know it's a long game, and be kind to people on your way up. You know that saying, because you will meet them on your way down. That's it. Listen, at our age, I'm not interested in working with not kind people. I'm not interested in working with not integrity-minded people. Why? Because at this point, our lives is too short. We ain't got a lot of runway, so we don't want to waste that on narcissists and unkind people who only care about themselves.
Wonderful. Effie Brown, the graduate of Loyola Marymount University.
Yes, I did not go to divinity school, but I
No,
should have.
she clearly did not.
But I had it, but me got it like this.
Yeah,
So, hey!
but she's found the light. She's found the light.
Then
But Effie, you started as a D girl, as it was called in the days.
development, but like
Tim Burton's company,
So here, yeah.
and you were in the mix. That was a
I was in the,
high-powered.
can I answer that? Sorry, no,
Please.
high five. So I'm like, the things that I would tell myself, because 20 years ago, I was still 30-something. So I'm like, so it's not like in college, I'm still, but like, what I would tell my younger self, and there's two things. One is, and this is a little painful, and I might get a little emotional, because no one cares how good of a job you do. And that's really hurtful, because no one cares. No one cares about you keeping that line item really like by any means necessary, or doing this or whatever. They truly care about how you make them feel after the experience. There are so many movies that I've done where I am a fucking assassin when it comes to making a movie. I can honestly say, like, I'm really, really, really good. But I was good at the expense. Do you know what I mean? Like, didn't make people feel good. Do you know what I'm saying? But I can hold a line and I can execute like nobody's business. So what I would tell my younger self is, ease up on doing you work really hard, people are gonna be rewarded for it, and be like, not really. People are you do a good, like, how many people do you see that fail upwards? Trust. That maybe don't look like you, Do you know what I mean? But like they did a terrible job. But they got financing for their next movie. They have a slate deal. They couldn't even like balance it, whatever. I'm just saying. So that's something I would tell myself. And then the other thing that I would tell myself was that like I don't have to drink and eat my feelings. Like I'm 19 years sober on the 28th, but that was a real thank you. But I mean, I'm like but like it was real of being the stress. And I'm sorry, unlike Darian. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm gonna save her receipt. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Whiskey
I'm kidding.
Darian.
No, exactly. No, but it's true. No, like, but like it's real. Like there's coping mechanisms that you have. Like I would eat and I would drink and I would do things. It was a lot of fun. That's why we used to my God. But like, you don't have to do that. Like that's what I wish I would have told myself when I was like 20 or so years younger.
Aaron.
I think I would have told myself to take the leap. I think I played it safe a lot, and I think I let a lot of, just wanted to play it safe, and also just like a lot of negative self-talk. And I think I gave into that way more than I should have 20 years ago. So I would say take the leap, because every time that I've done that, it's even in those situations where I didn't really know what I was doing. But you take the leap, and then the next step will come, and the next step will come, and the next step will come.
Mika Brzezinski talks about this, knowing your worth, and how men generally aren't afraid to say, "Hey, this is my value. This is This is my rate. This is what I'm supposed to." Do women have that?
No, and I've done research on this when I wrote my dissertation on Black women filmmakers.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, no, we all have 50 million degrees. We've done all kinds. They don't.
Well,
They
the last presidential campaign had a woman who was, I believe, the attorney general of her state, the vice president. But the current president, I think he was a talk show, had a talk show, or got fired.
I worked with a guy. He begged me to produce this film. Anyway, I produced this film, and somebody in Hollywood asked him to come and work on their new series, and they asked him to develop the games that were going to be part of the series. And he was like, sure, except since this is an unknown series, I want a percentage of the series. This man had never developed a game in his life. He didn't know anything about it. He just said, yeah. Anyway, the series was called CSI. I learned a lot in that moment, right? He just said yes. Whereas I know us would be like, oh no, let's find whoever else has that skill set. Yeah, he just said yeah. Anyway, but that's what you're saying a little bit. Yeah, we're so thoughtful.
Yeah. And on our time, I know we only have 3 minutes left. I want to say 1 minute for. Oh, excellent. All right. So I've got one more lightning round question for the panelists, and then I want to use that 5 minutes, the additional 5, for Q&A from the audience. Okay. All right. Biggest regrets. Biggest regrets.
You know what? I'm not into regrets. Okay, I'm just not.
So you're the Sinatra.
I'm not into regrets.
No regrets.
But I didn't get to answer that last question about the challenge. I mean, from younger self. I agree with what everybody said about the younger self.
Okay, let me give an option. Biggest regret or best thing that you want to be remembered for? Accomplishment. How about that?
I want to say something else.
You have the floor.
This is what I want. This is what I'm focused on right now. I have this Media Arts Center. We have all these free programs and classes. And the biggest thing that I've learned on this journey is you have to get your financial life together. Yes. And so we have a program called Money Mondays right now. Go to the website. There's the one on Monday is on the Pivot about, is it really a film? And it's free. It's online. Go to sistersincinema.org and you can sign up. But anyway, that's my biggest thing is we need to understand our money. We need to understand your personal finances because it's business. It's a business. It's show business, whatever. And so my thing is I had a series called From IP to Idea to IP. And if I had worked with this lawyer who did a 6-part series and understood the value of an idea, that's the biggest thing. I think all of us have had some ideas. And remember, Christine, when you started out, you had a book, you had like all kinds of things that went with your film, and then you stopped. But, so it's like we have these ideas that we are not monetizing and turning into the things that it could be. And I was talking to Landry earlier about these verticals and things. Black folks, we know how to create stuff, but a lot of times we don't end up owning it. So that's my big thing.
That's great.
That's it.
April, either accomplishment or regret. Dealer's choice.
I would say, I think the thing that I want to be remembered for is just being someone who always stayed true to myself and like my values and what I believe in. I think I've always kind of looked at my art through that lens of, in terms of what I'm making, in terms of who I'm making it with, in terms of how I'm making it, has always kind of been at the forefront of what I do. And so I would hope that that's always kind of at the forefront of what I'm remembered for.
Excellent. Effie?
I want to be remembered for building a collective film fund that will then fund movies continuously without having to go to the studio or the dominant gaze, Gaze, for financing. I want to create I want to be remembered for like, oh, she put this together and it is self-fulfilling and self-funding, and we, the royal we, have a place to go to get financing where we don't have to explain ourselves, explain our stories, to do the thing, and we can just truly have a real meritocracy.
So kind of like a United
That's what I
Artists,
want.
United
That's what I
Artists
want.
model.
That's what I want to be
Okay.
remembered for.
Christine.
So I've made a lot of award-winning films, and I have 4 kids, and I'm an empty nester for the first time. So I'm actually getting to enjoy working without worrying about childcare. And I waited like my whole adult life to get to that point. And I have gotten to this point, and now I can honestly say my greatest accomplishment has been those 4 kids. And my greatest regret is in raising them, and in that time thinking I was missing out on something outside of focusing on those kids. And if I can have that time back again, I would do things differently for them, even though I did stop working for 15 years to raise them. I just wish I had not lived in the regret thinking, well, what's my filmmaker friend doing that I'm not? Right? Now they're gone. I'm here. Right? And now they're looking for people like me. I'm just more mature. My superpower is because I was a mother, I know how to deal with actors, crew, and anybody else who wants to have a tantrum. So those years actually inform what I'm doing now. So I would say don't ever regret what phase of life you're in, because it's going to inform the person you need to become.
Wonderful. Darian.
Nobody ever wants to go after that. Like that was how I want to be remembered, I think, is pretty straightforward and simple. I want people to always think of me as she always told the truth and she lived her life of service. That my entire career has been, how can I help? How can I make this industry better? How can I make it opportunities more for the people around me? And as long as that is my North Star, I will be okay because I have helped people. And part of why I came from the development side, because I had planned to run a studio. That was my ambition when I was 12. That's where I went when I was 12. And, I came out of Peter Stark. We're trained to, take over the world. And then at some point I had an epiphany that I didn't want to be somebody who told people no. I wanted to be somebody who said yes. And in saying yes, that means taking on what people's problems. And so every single day after that, I have said yes to somebody every single day. If it doesn't mean that I can help you, I can get you to somebody who can. But that fulfills my life, is to know that I have helped.
Well, that's an incredible legacy from all of you. If you can make a difference in someone else's life, especially if they're a little younger and then they have a career and then they pass it on, that's an incredible contribution. All right, let me take the last 2 minutes. First, hands up. First, what question do you have? Right here.
What are you excited about right now that you're working on or want to be working on, and what community do you need to bring to that to bring it to fruition?
Did everyone hear the question? No. What are you excited about? Go.
I just for years and years working in television and all my TV director friends waiting to get the call to direct somebody else's show. Finally, I was like, I can do this. Coming out of the feature film world, mainly being a filmmaker, feature director, I wrote 2 shows that I know are hits.
Excellent.
Okay. Another question. We get 2 more in right there. Miracles. All right. What do you got? Quickly.
Yes,
We're on a clock. All right, Effie, you have 15 seconds to answer that.
I'm like, that's a really no. That's a really good question. But being able to be our authentic selves, which is not always on a pedestal, but to really show our human experience. And what you need to do is that you need to find, in my opinion, someone that can see the integrity of that, and then also you have to get to the money. I mean, really, I'm just going to really answer it. You got to find a piece of talent. That's going to be the thing, and that's how you're able to tell if you have your script. That's like, this is like a little messy, but it is our human experience, and like, she's not the stereotype, or what do you call it? Like the archetype. Yeah, like this is the archetype or whatever. That's what you need. But you really, if you get a star and you get a producer, that's the way to go. And then, the world, anyway, the studio system is falling apart. Go outside the studio system.
All right, I have in the tradition of our industry, I'd like to just turn to my 2 producers that I've worked with. I'd like to go into the grace period and take 2 more minutes in grace. 2 more questions.
Go ahead.
Right here, Lon Ray. Oh, okay. Oh, we've got the 30-minute extension.
30 minutes for the love of Jesus.
All right, Lon Ray.
I just want to start out and saying this is an amazing panel. Darian, thank you.
Yes.
Like,
Woo!
she really means it. Like, I was battling with SAG. I'm SAG actor and producer. I had an issue. I hadn't heard from SAG for 6 months. Then finally they called me on the week of production where I almost had to fire every SAG actor. Gave me 30 pages of documents that I had to fill in the next day, or we couldn't shoot.
Change the
I called
title.
Darian,
It's hard to get that.
Bam! Second later, we were greenlit and ready to go. So thank you, Darian. Give me
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Another question. Let's squeeze in a couple more really quickly. Right there. Yeah. Or you know what? That Sigma. I was GDI, so I don't know all them Greek. I got Sigma. Go ahead. Thank you. Ski week. That's from my niece. I know. I can't. I get yelled at. I know.
Wait,
I got my.
that's not even me.
You know.
Don't do that.
All right, Sigma. Here we go. This is you're looking at black excellence on this so far. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm gonna take my shot. Any of y'all need mentees? Program that y'all have? No,
All right. So meet up afterward. Okay. Question right here.
How did you, in these long careers and successful careers that you've had, how did you stay making money for yourself? Like having a full time, I have a full time job, but I'm also an indie producer. How do you manage that for years and years and years?
Yep, exactly that.
Great question.
You also have to have another skill. Sorry, like I came up as a line producer, so I know how to budget, I know how to schedule, and I know how to be of service and a tool to somebody else's film if worse comes to worse. And that has kept me relevant, and to the point where I can like produce my own movies or EP my own movies. But to have a spidey skill that is needed, that is how you stay. That's for me. I'm like, that's how you stay.
And I would say that goes for casting, obviously, and everything else,
Goes
right?
for everything.
So learn your craft. I think that covers it. Learn your craft, and
I did
not
some-
just on a surface level, but go deep in it so you become an expert at it. Go ahead, Yvonne.
No, it doesn't. It's no longer applicable.
No, go ahead.
I stayed in graduate school for 10 years and got funded that way. I mean, now you can make $50,000 on scholarships, but they don't exist anymore. They got rid of all that diversity money, so I'm saying it's not relevant anymore. But
Maybe they'll come back.
yeah, I stayed in school, used the studio space, they kicked me out. They're like, you've been here for 8 years. getting a PhD. They had to kick me out. But so it doesn't. It's not. But also, I was producing also for TV and stuff on the side. So you got to develop another skill set.
Excellent. Is there one last question? Who's got a good one? One last question. We're on the auction here. Going. Oh, I see one in the big, deep background. What do you think makes a great movie?
You're the director.
Two-word answers. Two-word. Just down the line. Christine first.
Well, I used to. My other skill is I teach. I taught
Oh, that's right. Good job.
like screenwriting for.
We're going to ask
Too
the
long.
questions we want to answer.
Listen,
That's how Effie has gotten to the top of this business.
so I taught for 5 years at the University of Georgia, and every year I would say, Lord, is this the year you will release me, so I can go direct? So 5 years I taught, and that is a skill set that you can get paid for doing. And turns out, like now, people ask me to do writing workshops, directing workshops, directing actor workshops, because some of y'all don't know how to direct actors. And turns out, us, black people,
Black people.
we have not been privy to that education or that access. And I used to feel guilty. I'm teaching all these white kids at the University of Georgia, and what about the people who don't have access to this, who can't pay the tuition? So that's when I started to do workshops. I would have a pay what you can policy and teach the same thing that I taught at the University of Georgia. And not just to black people, anybody who wants to learn. But what I realize is we're keeping all the knowledge ourselves, and there are people coming up who are going to be the next friggin' Ryan Cooglers, and they're trying to find mentors. You can DM me. I do respond to them because I'm on my phone too much. So that's one thing. Keep asking people questions. Ask them for help. Don't be the ignorant person who thinks like, I can do this. I can make movies. Everybody, yes, you can. Can you make them well? Yeah. So what is a great movie? Your audience will tell you. Your audience will tell you, right? But you first have to start by making a movie for one, and your producers and all the people who agree that this is the movie that we're making. And really, the audience will tell you if you hit the bullseye. Conversely, you can have a hit movie that don't nobody like, really, but they had marketing dollars to make it look like, man, wasn't this a great movie? So that's industry, that's business, and that's a part of it, and that's what we have to deal with. But in terms of being a storyteller, if you're not first moved, and then a few other people tell you that they are affected or moved or inspired or something by your story, then, keep going back to the pavement, right? Figure out if you're a storyteller. That's what I always say. I'm like, anybody can make a movie, but not anybody can tell a story well. Figure out if you're the good storyteller versus the one who could just make a lot of money making bad movies, and you can have a career doing that. You can build studios in Atlanta doing that. Okay? So just know, look, it's not a meritocracy. Because if it was strictly about talent, I didn't say.
We do not want to be involved in any lawsuits here. We want a disclaimer. There are many studios in Atlanta, Georgia.
Let me just say this. Here's the compliment. Viable business model. Making a living a gazillion times over. Finding a niche and making oneself relevant. That really is your responsibility.
Okay, I gotta wrap it up, but let me just address that a little in a little different tangential way. A good story, when that light goes down in the theater, and you are sitting in the theater as an audience member, not knowing anything about the story, and you are moved by that story, if it seems relevant to your life and your absolute individual experience, and something affects you from that storytelling, and you either learn something about a person or a culture or a place that you never knew before, and you were touched by that, and you were affected by that, I think you'll have the answer to your question. All right, I want to thank this.
Wait,
Darian, yep.
I just want to say, note that Christine was like, you know, you can reach her, and I am one of the most accessible people you can ever find. So my Instagram, if you want to go that way, is Darien, spell my name right, Darrien _ straight no chaser, whiskey. But also sagindy.org. If you email or call, if you have a problem, call me. Just come to me and do it. So we're accessible people. Don't wait.
I would like to, guys. I have a business
We're
thing.
ready to go?
I have
Okay.
to acknowledge our sponsors here today: the Maker's Mark Company and Jack Daniels. Effie Brown, close this out, please. Effie, close this out.
Actually, I would love for April because she hasn't spoken.
Avril,
Me?
Yeah.
please.
Close us out.
What am I saying?
You have a thought? Closing thought.
A closing thought. Well,
Yeah.
I do have a closing thought. Actually,
There
I
you
would
go.
love to say
There you go.
I'm very thankful for being on this panel because as I look at, you talk about Black excellence, like I look at every single person on this panel and I could tell you, I'm like giving all of y'all your flowers because I have a story about each one of you about how you've affected me as a filmmaker and seeing Sisters of Cinema when I was in grad school and realizing that, oh, there are women that are doing this and that was eye-opening for me. Effie coming to Sundance Labs, and Effie would sit down and just be like, "Tell me everything." That's always Effie's thing. And just knowing that I had a peer and I had an ally in Effie, Christine. I saw Christine's film when I was in grad school. Her feature film was, and again, it was another thing of like, oh my God, like there's a woman. A couple that's out here making feature films and is doing the thing. Darian, when I think about coming with when you came to Black House and was like, no, you can't cast that person because it's not going to help you. You know, just to put it in perspective of how much casting and finance go hand in hand. So there is just, I'm just truly honored to be on this panel, and I'm just really thankful for this community that has been created through this panel, but also through Sundance and organizations like this that allow us to come together. So I want to thank all of you for
Black excellence.
If y'all can just please stay seated for just a second. I have one thing to say because I got the mic in a can. This is the proudest moment of my professional life right now. I can't lie. his name because I don't speak Swiss. Is that Swiss, German?
No, it's Italian and it means fox.
It means
Fox. It's Italian
Fox,
and means
okay.
fox. So I'm Petra Fox.
Okay, Petra Fox. This panel is on neurodiversity in film as seen through the eyes of Frank and Lewis, which is premiering at 6 p.m. tonight. If you don't have tickets, I'm sorry. I don't have any for you either, but I'll be there. Wow, I'm so glad y'all are here. Thank you. You were so kind as to send me a screener so that I could watch the film ahead of time and give you intelligent, educated answers. And I slept on the bench back there and have not been able to do that, but I will see it at 6, so we're going to wing this. I spent a little bit of time talking to you, Rob, in the car a couple nights ago, so what I'd like to start by saying is for experiencing as an actor walking through a film set amongst people that have real lives that are limited to a completion, what was the hardest part of portraying that? Just keep talking.
Okay, cool. What was the hardest part? I mean, man, I think what we do is about play. You know what I mean? When people come to a theater, they come to see a play. They don't come to see you slice your wrist and die on the stage. You know what I mean? So for me, I take my work as play. And I had a lot of fun doing this project, man. I think the hardest part is that there are not more projects like this. You know, there are not more projects highlighting this kind of condition and giving voice to the voiceless like this. So I mean, I can't really speak on the hard parts other than we need more projects and stories like this.
Petra, directing Frank and Lewis, you had to have seen and you had to have imagined more of how a man or woman falling apart, hard enough as it is in real life, without the resources of somebody there to love for you and care for you and hold your hand, you have to have some insight into the kind of policy changes you think would be appropriate in the judicial system that would give our people in the penal system some dignity and respect. Tell us what your thoughts are on how to do that.
Very big question. I think prisons weren't built to be nursing homes, and prisons weren't built to be mental hospitals, and prisons weren't built in the United States for people to live and get better and learn about themselves. It's a system that's focused solely on punishment, and I fundamentally think that's wrong. And I think dehumanizing people in the way it's done here, and especially, you know, having met all the Gold Coats who do this amazing work at the California Men's Colony, like taking care of older inmates with Alzheimer's and dementia, and putting that really hard work of care in an environment that's really very hostile and very aggressive and violent, and finding the dignity and humanity to be humans to other humans. I think I have so much admiration for that and respect, and I think it's important that people know that this work is done in prisons. And I think, to answer your question, I think it would need a very fundamentally different attitude towards punishment and rehabilitation. And it's very ingrained in the society that it isn't like that. And I think everybody and all the policies must work towards that.
So, quick follow-up on that. Maybe people might see this someday. People are definitely going to see your movie. So take this moment to tell people that don't know what the Gold Coats do specifics, because policy sometimes happens from the ground up. We had, you know, a warden of a Utah prison here yesterday who was taking the initiative. If you were speaking directly to the warden of a prison that didn't know what the Gold Coats were, tell them exactly how you think they might help their inmates.
The wardens?
Yeah, if you were able to speak directly to a warden of a prison who was making their own policy changes in their own prison without waiting for legislation, because some wardens are doing that, what would you tell them? How would you most
Well,
guide
they're
them?
actually doing that in the California men's colony. They had historically good wardens, and that's why the program exists there. So I think every warden in his prison has a power. And for example, I think at the California men's colony, the people I met there, the social workers, who work with the incarcerated men there, they are really, they are trying to be humans with humans. And I think it happens on that level also. So there's an external thing, which is a bigger conversation, how society deals with crime and punishment, which is a really large societal issue and discussion. And there's also not easy answers to that. But then on the individual level of a prison, I think the people who work there have power and have influence and can decide to treat people as people. And I think it comes down to all of us too, right? We have choices out here, and you have choice in prison also. So I think both things are really important.
Thank you. Rob, you were telling me about having friends that have experienced the penal system. Would you like to take a moment to say anything about how you think justice is delivered in the United States and what might make it more just?
Man, the whole penal system is supposed to be about redemption, right? I could use a story of Tukey Williams. I don't know if you all are familiar with Tukey Williams, right? This brother is part of the whole Crip organization who started the whole idea of the Crips, right? So yeah, he gets locked up, but while he's locked up, he starts writing children's books denouncing the whole gang lifestyle, to the point that the Nobel Peace Prize organization wanted to actually nominate this brother for a Nobel Peace Prize because of the work that he was doing behind bars after showing redemption. But then California State kills him anyway, right? So the perfect example of this is what our justice, this is what our system is supposed to do, designed to redeem people, but yet it's not like that is the norm, or it's not like that's something that's focused on. And I think we could curtail the system in a way to like, man, redemption is what it's about. Because doing research on other prison movies, the prison culture really didn't start out like that. It did start out as a rehabilitating type of organization. And then as it grew, that's when it got more brutal, and that's when it got more like dehumanizing and things of that nature. Because I read this book on, I know I'm going down a rabbit hole, but Satchel Paige, his book was phenomenal, and they talked about how he learned baseball in jail, but it was a situation where they were more like catered to their humanity. They were given things to kind of turn them around literally and really. So that's how he got into the sports and things of that nature. So I think we need to revert back to the original way that the prison system was designed to be, and that's focus on redeeming people, you know?
I'm going to take advantage. Yeah, please.
Thank you.
I'm going to take the advantage of the opportunity to ask you a question I always want to ask filmmakers. If you had the opportunity to have Frank and Lewis seen and make change, or win an Oscar for Best Picture, which would you rather have?
Oh my God. Definitely the first. I mean, I just made also this movie Late Shift, which is about a nurse, and it's a love letter to nurses. And for me, the biggest compliment was that nurses went to see the movie, and it amplifies their voices for better work conditions. And with Frank and Louis, I mean, all my work, like I make movies about social issues, and because I care about them, and I care about telling meaningful stories and challenging people's, perspectives and opening their hearts. And so that is the most important thing for me. I mean, yeah, an Oscar is just a statue, but if you can move people's hearts, and that's what we come to the set for, that's why we get up in the morning.
Great answer.
You can't eat no award. You know what I mean? You can't chef it up on a plate and eat it, and it sustains you. yeah, it's cool to look at. But we had an award, a moment just an hour ago when we were passing by and a woman recognized me and asked me what I was here for, and I told her about our movie, Frank and Lewis. She instantly starts crying, sharing how her husband literally had just died from early onset Alzheimer's that moved to dementia. You know what I mean? And then I introduced them to Petra, you know, and that even how, and then they standing up and beaming now, you know what I mean? And feeling like, thank you for telling this story. We need more stories like that, you know. Thank you for highlighting, you know, what my husband went through. And to me, honestly, you all didn't see that, but that was a big award for me. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that we do this for.
Yeah, and I think especially with Alzheimer's and dementia, and you never, as you said very early on, you never think about aging in prison. You never think about that people there also have this disease. And a lot of movies that do depict this disease, they show people in big bourgeois apartments on the Upper West Side or in London. Like it's always a very class, it's very connected to class also in how it's shown. But poor people have dementia and Alzheimer's. Incarcerated people have that. And it's even more terrible there. And if we can, you know, highlight that this exists in prison and make people think about it, also about the caretakers, the work that these gold coats are doing there, I think that's much more important. And I do hope that the film will be shown in prisons, you know, and that the gold coats will see the film, and that's our biggest hope. And actually, an ex-gold coat who was also a consultant of the film, he works now in Los Angeles as a public defender, and I sent him, he was, you know, helping me with the script, and he saw the film, and when his mail came and he said he feels, he loved the film and it feels authentic, I think that was my Oscar.
And also, if this movie can encourage more gold coat programs, because from what I understand,
So tell us just a little bit about what the gold coats do while you're saying that.
well, I mean, they assist people as they age in the judicial system and basically giving them some humanity and some dignity and some care. You know?
Are they
So-
inmates? Are they
Yeah,
they're
it's a
inmates,
peer
yes.
Right, that's what I'm
support
saying, like,
program.
yeah.
Yeah, they're inmates also. And like Petra was sharing earlier, how they edify themselves by helping somebody else. They feel like something is, their humanity is being expressed. So that's a plus for them also, being able to help the aging community. You know, but what I was going to say is that I think hopefully this movie can encourage more gold coat programs, because from what I understand, when we first started shooting it, there was only one in America, and the one that she visited. So, you know, in my mind, I think it should be way more gold coat program. We got thousands of prisons. Why is it only one gold coat program?
And the aging population in American prisons is the fastest growing one due to outdated sentencing laws. And so it's like there is hundreds of old people in prisons who have been kept there also with the three-strike law, which is really like puts people really forever and ever, like they can never get out. And for example, in Europe, we have a different system. A life sentence doesn't mean a real life. It's 20 years, and if they want to keep a person longer, it's a very long process. So the American prison system is, you know, known for a particular cruelty also. So I think, and in a lot of prisons, there aren't these peer support programs, and so we hope to inspire this conversation.
So on that note, if you were going to talk to one person in the world that you know can do something, who is that person that you would like to talk to? Put it out there in the world just in case they end up watching this and say, hey, I think I'll call Petra.
You. You. We're doing it now.
I mean, the movie is what we're saying, you know, we're putting the movie out there, and that's the power of cinema. That's why it's great to be at this festival. It's great to premiere the movie here. It's hopefully we find a buyer, you know, that's what we're here for. We hope the movie will have a long international life, and our movie is what we have to say, and we try to reach as many people as possible because we are changing the world. You know, we can't rely on this one person. It's us. You know, it's on us.
That means that it's on you to go tell people on your Facebook, your Instagram, even if you don't get to Frank and Lewis, tell them they should have seen it. Because eyeballs come through social media. Policy happens. He's right. Policy happens right here with you. It doesn't take that many people to amplify a voice. Why Rob Morgan? Why Rob Morgan? Why'd you pick him? Why did you look through all why did you look through all the talented, black men working today and go, I want him?
Because he's an amazing actor. I mean, I saw him in.
I paid her to say that.
I really loved Mudbound, and I think his performance there was so stunning and so quietly moving and so intense. And whenever he came on screen, it's just something really deep emotional happens. And I think that's the power of fantastic acting and a fantastic personality.
Mic drop. I have to, again, just as a filmmaker myself, I have to get nosy. Where did you come across the story, and how did you get the money for it?
That took you 10 years to get the money for this movie. Because it's not exactly when you come, you don't say you want to do a prison drama, people aren't throwing the money after you. We found, like, my co-author read about the Gold Code program somewhere on the internet, and we were just really moved and also fascinated that we didn't, know about. We didn't think about Alzheimer's in prison, and we didn't think about this form of care. And I was particularly fascinated because, as a feminist, as a woman filmmaker, I think it's also extremely important to put different kinds of images of masculinity on the big screen. We can't just, if you want to change the world, the way the sexes relate to each other, if you want to, you also need new role models for men. And I thought this program, Man Caring for Other Men, men being compassionate towards other men being tender towards other men, was something so important to put on the big screen, to be seen for boys and men out there, that there is a different way of being a man, that vulnerability and care can be masculine. So for me, that was a very important aspect why I wanted to, go talk to the Gold Codes and find a way to tell this story.
That's really beautiful.
Found the money in Switzerland.
Yeah, eventually, so it took 10 years to make the film, and we found the money. The movie is funded through Swiss money, like taxes, basically, because we have in Europe governmental funding. It's not private money. It's like cultural support. So how we finance money is we apply for a fund, and so we got the money there. And because everybody in Switzerland also felt this is even though it's a story taking place in an American men's prison, it's a very universal story. It's a story that touches onto something very deeply humane, and they were willing to support us. And then we shot the movie in the UK because we got tax credit there and found a prison where we could shoot it. And I'm very happy that we could do it this way, because we were really free to do the movie we wanted to do. We didn't have any studio telling us what to do. We didn't have any executives telling us what to do. We could artistically make the movie we wanted to make.
And when you were shooting at that prison, was that a vacant prison, or were you shooting in a running prison?
No, it was an old prison, and it was vacant. But it was also because it's British, and in the North America, a lot of these old Victorian prisons still exist. So it worked as the movie is set in a prison, so it worked as a North American prison.
Rob, we're running short on time because we've got a hard out for this room at 3 o'clock. I'm going to give you a two-part question. Pick whichever one you want. Mm-hmm. You said there weren't any hardest parts of this, so I'll either ask you, what was the most joyful part of this movie, or you got the microphone. Anything else that you want to say, whether it's about Franklin Lewis or not? You got this. You got a minute. What's in your heart today?
The most joyful part was watching Petra crying between the takes, being that she trusted us with this material, and we knew that she invested 10 years into this project, and to get that kind of reaction from her, as knowing how close it is to her heart, really floored us and really made us say, yes, we're doing the right thing, keep going. If anything, word of mouth is the best way of advertising. So if you do see the movie, please tell a friend, friends. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, get you a ticket, go check it out, and see what we put down, because we really are proud of this project, Frank and Lewis.
Beautiful. What's
Try
the,
to knock both questions out.
same pair of questions for you, Petra.
For me, it was the other way around, watching them perform and bringing this story to life with their hearts and souls. Like when you write the script, it's it has to come alive with the actors, and that was just a miraculous experience every day. And especially after 10 years, and I think I also felt a tremendous weight of responsibility if you take on such a story. You have a responsibility towards the people who supported you, the gold codes, and I knew with those two actors and bringing that to life and seeing that it's actually coming to be three-dimensional was always a beautiful experience every day.
We've got time for one or two questions from the audience. If you'll raise your hand, I'll entertain one or two questions if you've got them. Right there, Lanre in the front row.
Have you, of course, one of the problems with prison and recidivism is the prison industrial complex, right? Because it shifted from rehabilitation to so the whole system shifted from rehabilitation to actually a money-making organization. So are there any specific organizations within the prison industrial complex that you think you should show this film to, or can show this film to, or can you set up some type of outreach so that they can see some of the effects of what this system is doing?
I definitely, for me personally, that's a very important aspect of this movie, and I hope the distributor who will take on the movie will honor that. And I will put all my effort into this, because I think it's important that these organizations see the movie and can use it to amplify their voices, to ignite change. And I think movies can do that, like for example, my movie Late Shift, we were able to reach politicians, we were able to give the nurses, it's almost like a call to weapons. And I hope that this movie can do the same thing. And that's the best thing you can hope for a movie. We can't change the world with a movie, but we can inform people. We can tap into their compassion. We can tap into their curiosity. And I think if we manage to do that, we've achieved a lot. So I hope that the movie will go this way.
I think we're just going to let it go right. Oh, did I see somebody else raise their hand? Okay, I think we're just going to let that stop right there. I do want to say I've got goosebumps. I can't wait to actually see you play on the screen, Rob. And I really thank y'all for making the time. I know this is your junket day. I know you're crazy. Thank you for making it.
Thank
to
you for
everybody
being
in
here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
To everybody in the room, I got to tell you, this has been 4 days of programming. A lot of you in the room helped us. This has been the best professional 4 days of my life. And these last two panels were the most moving panels for me of my life. So I really appreciate y'all being here for a little moment I'm having, because I'm having some feels. Heretic Films thanks you. Amiali Properties thanks you. Raza Legal thanks you. Ramo Law thanks you. These are all our underwriters and our helpers. RBIJ, which is a justice organization, thanks you. The Just Trust thanks you. Hill for Literacy thanks you. If you'd like to stick around and help us fold chairs or talk to me or any member of the team about the work, the activism work that we do, Heretic Films, that's part of what we do, is we tie activism in the daytime, panels like this all day for the last 3 days with our financiers and our philanthropic and corporate sponsors to help make movies. So we make the movies that need to be made. I wish to God I'd had something to do with this movie. But anyway, thank you very much for coming. Please give yourselves
Thank
a
you.
big hand for being at a meeting. Oh, wait.
One more thing. Podcast community. It's a podcast called Ear Hustle. that
Hell
were
yeah, they were
really-
here yesterday.
Oh my God! Check out that podcast because that was very helpful for me actually tapping into this character too. Ear Hustle is the name of the podcast.
It's on
Feel free to check
NPR.
it. All right, cool. I just wanted
Yeah,
to
for
plug
me
that
too.
real quick because that was very instrumental for me. Go ahead.
For me too. Yeah.
So give yourselves a hand for being here. Thank you very much.